Hello everyone and welcome back to Game Gengo, the video series where we learn Japanese through video games. In this episode we're going to be looking at Final Fantasy VII Remake. Now you may have noticed this video, it's pretty huge. The reason for this is that this episode is actually 3 episodes in one and we're going to complete the rest of chapter 3. Now in this video we're going to be learning 180 new Japanese words and we actually have a breakdown this time of the words that we're going to be learning. So for the JLPT N5 we're going to be learning 14 new words, the N4 will be 12 new words, the N3 will be 47 new words, N2 will be 8 new words, and the N1 will be 16 new words. And so this will bring our total just under 1,300 new words that we've learnt. So just before I start this video and get into the rest of the chapter 3, I just want to explain what I'm going to be doing with this video and also for the following chapters that will be coming for the rest of Final Fantasy VII and potentially other games as well. So far, it's been a lot of work for me to actually make the type of videos that I've been making, and I've only been really covering the game like 5 minutes at a time, and so it's been really slow progress, right? I've been making this channel for quite a few months now, and we're only now finishing chapter 3. I would like to actually potentially cover the rest of the game and also other games as well. And so what I'm thinking is I'm going to try and change the way I'm doing the video. So this might not be the definitive way that I always do this series, but I'm just trying out a different way. Let me know if you like this video. Let me know if you like the way that I'm doing this, whether or not it's better, worse, whether it's okay for you and your Japanese studies, because I'd really like to finish Final Fantasy VII and also I'd like to approach other games. And so I'm just going to explain a little bit about my ideas right now for this channel, for this video. So if you're not interested in that, please just skip to this point in the video and that will take you directly to the analysis. Okay, so my thoughts about this channel. At the beginning, I was just thinking about trying to cover all of Final Fantasy VII. I wasn't really having any grand plans of covering the entire Japanese language. I just wanted to see how much we could learn, maybe get to fluency through Final Fantasy VII. However, in the process, I've realized that there's actually a huge amount of potential and interesting ideas that I have and can do with just video games and Japanese in general. And so what I'm actually thinking about doing is, at least for the language side of things, approaching it in a kind of 3-pronged attack. I make grammar videos. If you've noticed, I've done a few grammar explanations for some confusing grammar points. I also did the entire N5 grammar in my most latest video. And actually, I'll also be doing a series very similar to that where I cover kanji. So my plan is to actually cover all the kanji as well in Japanese so that you can learn them through video games. And that kind of leaves me with vocab, right? Like they're the 3 things you need to learn. And so the vocab, well, where am I going to do that? Am I going to make a separate vocab video? Doesn't quite make sense, especially when with this deep dive series, that's exactly what we've been doing. We've been collecting vocab, we've been learning vocab, and our number keeps on going up and up and up. So I'm actually thinking about shifting focus for this series into exactly that. Shifting the focus where we're actually, the focus and the point and the aim and the goal of this video series is to learn vocabulary, to discover vocabulary and learn exactly how they're used in context. If we want to learn grammar, that'll be in the grammar videos. If we want to learn the kanji, that'll be in the kanji videos. But in this series, I'm thinking the shift to vocabulary would make a lot of sense, and it could also kind of gamify the series where we're kind of trying to discover all of the language. Our goal is to get all of the Japanese, collect it all. And so what I've actually done is I've got all the words, all the vocabulary that we've learned so far throughout the Final Fantasy VII series, and I've counted them through with like an Excel program thanks to some wizards on my Discord, and I've actually found out how many words we've learned, how much of the N5, N4, N3 that is, and so I'm thinking about changing the focus to that, right? So we can actually start doing Final Fantasy VII and get more progress, but also other games as well. So in this video, there won't be any review, there won't be any quiz, there won't be anything like that. The way I'm going to be doing this video and potentially the rest of the series and potentially other video games as well is by scenes. So in this video it's long, but it's going to be shorter than the chapter 4 one that's coming next. In the chapter 3 one, what I'm going to be doing is I go scene and then I analyze that scene line by line and then we move on to the next scene. And then we go line by line, and then we move on to the next scene, and then line by line. that's how I'm going to be approaching this video, and potentially that's how I'm going to be approaching the next chapter as well in one enormous video. So that's my thoughts right now about how I'm going to do this, really shifted into more of a vocabulary learning experience to kind of give you the complete package. You can get the grammar with the grammar series, the kanji with the kanji series, and the vocab with this vocab series, which really gives an identity to this series, and as well as, you know, potential for me covering other games as well, and also really gives the channel a clear direction on where we're going. We want to learn all of the Japanese everywhere, and we're going to do it exactly like this through video games. Okay, so that is the explanation all out of the way, so let's get into the rest of chapter 3.
さあ着いたよ。疲れたでしょ。
ま、そうだな。
でも労働の後はお楽しみ。スラムの天国セブンスヘブンで癒しのカクテルをいかがですか？
ティファ。
私もちょっと疲れちゃった。ねえ、ミッドガルにはずっと？
そうだな。この辺りで仕事して金を貯める。
そっか。さあ着いたよ。疲れたでしょ。
Okay, so first up, we've now arrived at 7th heaven, and Tifa says, 着いたよ、疲れたでしょ? So, 着く here means to arrive somewhere, and often we will use the ni particle to show exactly where we've arrived, but here she's just using it by itself, just 着いた. And then she says, 疲れた. So, 疲れる means to get tired, 疲れた is the past form, so I am tired. So, 着いたよ, we've arrived, 疲れたでしょ? You're tired, right?
ま、そうだな。
Well, I guess so, yeah.
でも労働の後はお楽しみ。
But after the labor comes the fun. And so here she says, でも労働の後はお楽しみ. So demo, but, and then 労働 here is a new word meaning labor. So we can see here that it means kind of things like manual labor or doing a work. So really, you know, after the hard work, and we can see that with 後, that means after. So 労働の後, after the hard work, 楽しみ. That's something to enjoy. So 楽しんでいる means that you are enjoying, it's the verb, but here it's being turned into a noun. So it's お楽しみ, this means fun. So as for after hard work, 労働の後はお楽しみ, fun.
スラムの天国セブンスヘブンで癒しのカクテルをいかがですか？
How about a soothing cocktail in the slum paradise of 7th heaven? So here we have 4 new words. The first one, slum no tengoku. So tengoku here means heaven, or it could mean paradise. So if you die, you go to tengoku. And so here she's calling 7th heaven the slum paradise, Suramu Tengoku. And then we have de, showing where the action is taking place. So we can see that the action is taking place in the slum paradise of 7th heaven. Iyashi means kind of soothing or healing, and then cocktail is a cocktail. So a soothing or a healing cocktail, iyashi no cocktail, or ikaga desu ka? So ikaga desu ka is kind of a polite way of asking someone, how about this, or would you like this? What is she asking? We can see that with the or particle showing exactly what she's asking. How about a iyashi no cocktail, a soothing cocktail?
ティファ。
私もちょっと疲れちゃった。
I'm also a little tired. 私もちょっと疲れちゃった。
ねえ、ミッドガルにはずっと？
So, hey, you're gonna stay in Midgard? Ne, Midgard ni wa zutto? So, ne is a way of kind of getting attention. Hey, ne, Midgard ni wa. So, as for in Midgard, zutto? So, zutto here means a long time, a word we've already learned. But here it's kind of asking, you know, like, are you going to be here for a long time? But she's just not putting the rest of that in. She's just saying zutto. So, Midgard ni wa zutto? Are you going to be in Midgard the whole time?
そうだな。この辺りで仕事して金を貯める。
Yeah, that's right. I'll work around here and save money. そうだな。この辺りで仕事して金を貯める。So, そうだな is like, yeah, that's right. この辺り here means in this area. 辺り is this area. この means this. So, in this area. この辺りで. So now we know he's doing something in this area. 仕事して work, and then 金をtameru. So this new word here, tameru, means to store something or kind of to save up. So he's saving up. What is he saving up? We can see it with the o particle, kane, money. So he's going to work and save money. 仕事して 金を貯める。
そっか。
そっか。I see.
ただいま。
おかえり。お散歩？
そんなとこ。
おい、下に全員集合だ。
今から？じゃあ次の作戦は？
マリン、店の前でジェシーを待っててくれ。
次の作戦、明日決行になった。今から作戦会議。
会議の前に報酬をもらいたい。
取り込み中だ。会議が終わるまで黙って待ってろ。ティファもすぐ来いよ。
ただいま。
We're back. ただいま。
おかえり。お散歩？
Welcome back. You went on a walk? おかえり。お散歩? So, おかえり is a common way of saying welcome back to someone. If someone comes home, you can say, oh, おかえり, welcome home. And then, お散歩. So, 散歩 here is a new word meaning to go on a walk. 散歩する. And so here, my cute little Marlene is asking, did you guys go on a walk? お散歩?
そんなとこ。
そんなとこ. So this is kind of そんなところ, which means around that way, that kind of thing. And so this expression is kind of a slang way of saying, yeah, something like that. そんなとこ.
おい、下に全員集合だ。
Hey, full member meeting downstairs. おい、下に全員集合だ. So, おい, getting your attention, おい. And then, 下に. So, 下 means down. If you remember, 上 means up. 下 is down. 下に. So, we're doing something or going somewhere down. 全員 means all members. 全 means everyone, すべて. And then, in here is a person or a member. So, all members, 全員. And then, 集合. So, this word is a new word meaning to meet up or to gather. So, we're meeting up is 集合. Let's meet up downstairs, or just down, which Final Fantasy VII fans will know is kind of downstairs under the pin table thing.
今から？じゃあ次の作戦は？
From now? So the next mission is 今から? じゃあ次の作戦は? So 今から this is a new word and this means from now. So we've learned all of this, but just putting it together we haven't learned. 今 means now and then から is from. So from now, じゃあ次の作戦は? As for the next mission, so she's kind of saying, you know, oh, so we're going to talk about the next mission, or the next mission is kind of coming into fruition.
マリン、店の前でジェシーを待っててくれ。
Marlene, wait for Jessie out in front of the shop. Marlene, 店の前で Jessie を待っててくれ. So Marlene is the girl's name, and then we have 店の前で. So 店 is a shop, 前 means in front of, so in front of the shop, 店の前で. Okay, so now again we're knowing that's where the place of action is happening. ジェシーを待っててくれ. And so 待っててくれ means wait for me, and what is she waiting for? We can see that with the or particle, it's ジェシー. So the particles here are so important. You can see で is where it's happening, and then ジェシーを we can see what she's waiting for.
次の作戦、明日決行になった。
The next mission has been decided to take place tomorrow. 次の作戦、明日決行になった。So 次 next 作戦 the mission 明日 means tomorrow, and then next we have this new word 決行. So 決行 here means carrying out a plan or kind of doing something with resolve, and so really it's kind of, you know, being decided to take place, right? It's being decided that it's going to take place tomorrow. 決行になった. So になる means to become. So it's become decided that tomorrow we're going to do the next mission. 次の作戦.
今から作戦会議。
From now, we are going to have a strategy meeting. 今から作戦会議. And so, 今から, we've seen that before. 作戦, again, is the mission. But 会議 here means a meeting. And so, we're going to meet to do something that would be a 会議. This is a very common word if you have like a business meeting or anything like that. 会議 is used there. So, 集合 is kind of like the joining up, right? Like man up, group up, right? Let's all get together. But 会議 is actually the meeting itself.
会議の前に報酬をもらい。
Before the meeting, I want to get my payment. 会議の前に報酬をもらいたい. So 会議 is the meeting, and then の前に, so 前に means before something. So before the meeting, 会議の前に報酬を, so he wants to do something with his payment. moraitai. So I want to receive. Moral to receive, and then tai I want. So I want to receive my payment before the meeting. 会議の前に報酬をもらいたい。
取り込み中だ。
I'm working on it. 取り込み中だ。So this torikomu means to kind of process something. So it's like you're in the middle of doing something, and then chu again actually means you're in the middle of doing something. So I'm in the middle of doing it. So it's kind of two ways of saying I'm in the middle of something, really showing, he's in the middle of doing it. Torikomi chu. Now this word is actually quite useful for video game language because you might actually see this when your save is loading. You might see save data o torikomi chu. It's in the middle of loading the save data. So don't pull out the memory card, that kind of thing.
会議が終わるまで黙って待ってろ。
Just shut up and wait until the meeting is over. So 会議が終わるまで. So 会議 is the meeting. 終わるまで means until it's finished. And then 黙って待ってろ. Damaru means to shut up, to be quiet, don't say anything. And then matero is the imperative way of telling someone to wait. So it's very rude, it's very direct. So just shut up and wait. Damate matero.
Tifa もすぐ来いよ。
Tifa also, come right away. Tifa mo sugu koyo. So Tifa mo, also Tifa, sugu means immediately, right away, and then koi is again a very rude, direct way of telling someone to come. Kuru meaning to come, and then koi is that ordering, so koi. Now, this language you might not normally use in real life because it's very, very direct, and instead you might use the te form instead of this imperative.
ほんとごめん。もう少しだけ待ってて。お詫びに。どうぞ座って。何にしましょう。
きついのくれないか。
どう？好きって言ってくれるお客さん多いんだ。
人気なわけだ。
お客様、さすがお目が高い。続きましては、当店名物コスモキャニオンでございます。
綺麗だ。
行かなきゃ。ごゆっくり。ほんとごめん。
I'm really sorry. Honto gomen. So honto here, we can see that it's not being used as honto ni, which might be the normal way you've learned it in a textbook. This honto can just be just by itself. Honto gomen. I'm really sorry, or I'm seriously sorry.
もう少しだけ待ってて。お詫びに。
Just wait here a little bit more. As an apology, so もう少し待ってて、お詫びに. So もう少し, just a little bit more, and then we have 待ってて, please wait, finished off by お詫びに. So here, お詫び actually means as like an apology, and then ni is saying as an apology. お詫び, an apology, ni, as an apology. So she's about to do something or offer something as an apology.
どうぞ座って。
どうぞ座って. Dozo means please. For example, you might open the door and say, hey, dozo, please come in, right? Please, dozo, here you are. And then suate is saying sit. Now, this is, as I just mentioned, the more polite way of asking someone to do something. Instead of saying suate, sit, very rude, very direct, you would say suate. It's a little bit more softer way and still casual of asking someone to take a seat.
何にしましょう。
What shall you have? 何にしましょう? Something strong. きついの. So this might be something like whiskey, right? It's very strong, that's very きつい, very strong. I'm not in that kind of mood. そんな気分じゃない. Sonna, like that. Kibun is your mood, and janai to not be. So I'm just not in that kind of mood. Sonna kibun janai.
きついのくれないか
Could you give me something strong? Kitsui no kurenai ka. Kitsui, remember the strong like whiskey. Kurenai means couldn't you do for me or couldn't you give me? Ka is a question, so hey, couldn't you give me something strong?
どう
How is it? Do. So do is a very common way of asking how something is, right? Like if someone's eating something like do desu ka? How is it, right?
好きって言ってくれるお客さん多いんだ
There are many customers that say that they like it. Ski te ite kureru okyaku-san oinda. So ski is the word for like. Something ga ski means you like, and if it's just ski, it means to like. Then we see the te. This is quoting what someone else is saying. Ski te ite kureru, so to say for me, or just kind of do something nice for me, but to say nice for me. Ite kureru okyaku-san, that is the guests or the customers, okyaku-san, and you can see that she's being a little bit polite because she's using this o in front of kyaku-san. So okyaku-san oinda. Oi means a lot, many, and then nda is saying it is that. She's explaining that lots of customers say that they like it. So, suki te ite kureru okyaku-san oinda. Now, you might actually have a ga in between the oi and kyaku-san, but she drops it, as that's very common in Japanese to just drop the particles all the time.
人気なわけだ
No wonder it's so popular. Ninki na wake da. So ninki means to be popular. If you're a popular person, you could say that you're ninki. And then here we have ninki na, so it's an adjective and it's talking about wake, which is the reasoning or conclusion. Now it's a little bit strange to say that is the popular conclusion. However, what he's actually kind of saying is like a no wonder it's so popular. Wake is often used in that way to kind of, no wonder wake da. No wonder it's the case. And so ninki na wake da means no wonder it's popular.
お客様さすがお目が高い
Customer, as expected, you have a great eye. So, kyakusama sasuga omega takai. So, kyakusama here means the customer, and then we have sasuga. Now, I've made a mistake. There's a little bit of purple here. Just ignore the purple in the sasuga. I can't actually edit it because it's part of the old video. But sasuga means like as expected. So, as expected, customer, kyakusama sasuga omega takai. Your eye is very high. Sounds weird, but it means that you have a great eye, right? Your skill in your eye is very high. Omega takai. You have a very discerning eye.
続きましては
To be followed by 続きましては
当店名物コスモキャニオンでございます
This is our store's speciality, the Cosmo Canyon. So Tifa here is speaking quite formal in a kind of joking way. She's calling Cloud Kyakusama instead of Cloud, and so she continues that with here she says, Toten meibutsu, Cosmo Canyon de gozaimasu. So Toten means this shop, to, this is for this, ten is the shop, Meibutsu, this means your kind of specialty goods. So it's very common in Japan for different areas to have their own meibutsu, their own specialty goods. And so they're saying that the specialty goods for this store, Toten Meibutsu, is Cosmo Canyon de gozaimasu. So de gozaimasu is a very polite way of saying des. Simply as that, just des. If you want to use a keigo way of saying des, a higher way of being even more honorific, it would be de gozaimasu. And so you'll see this in kind of business where, people are being very, very polite and honorable. This is, right, I present you with that kind of language. Well, that here is this de gozaimasu. So I present you with our store's speciality, the Cosmo Canyon. Toten meibutsu, Cosmo Canyon de gozaimasu.
綺麗だ
It's pretty. Kirei da. So kirei just means pretty. It can also mean beautiful, but there is a word for that as well. Kirei is often seen as just pretty, and so he's saying it's pretty. Now, this is a kind of flirtatious scene between the two because he's looking at the drink, but he's not really. You can see him. He's actually looking at Tifa. So, he could be flirting with her. Maybe, maybe not. We don't know. Either way, Tifa gets a little bit flustered and she says,
行かなきゃ
I gotta go. Ikanakya. So iku means to go, and then this nakya with the negative form of a verb means you have to do something. So ikanakya, I have to go. Tabenakya, I gotta eat. And so we actually covered this in the N5 grammar video. If you're interested, go check that out.
ごゆっくり
take your time, go yukkuri. So we finish off this scene with Tifa continuing to be, very formal and kind of playing with her words here. So she's been speaking to Cloud like a customer to kind of give him that experience that she gives other customers. She wants to kind of, make him feel good and relaxed. And so she's talking to him in this language, like using honorifics, calling him okyakusama, using de gozaimasu instead of des, and here using go in front of yukkuri. And this means a kind of honorific way of saying take your time. So she's being a good hostess and she's making Cloud feel comfortable and welcome. But Tifa doesn't actually say this in English, as we don't really have an honorific way of speaking in English, and so in English she just says, I gotta go, enjoy. But with the Japanese, we can see this subtle use of where she's using keigo to kind of distance the relationship between her and Cloud, making her more of a subservient person to Cloud, who is the customer, the honorable customer, right? And you can see that with the language, and this is very important, especially in Japanese business.
News 見た？マコーロの爆発は市民の敵アバランチの仕業だってガンガン流れてるの。ゾクゾクするよね。顔バレしてないからここは安全だろうけど、いろいろ急がなくちゃ。ねえ、次も一緒なんでしょ？
報酬次第だな。
じゃあ決まり、私が押すから。ティファが行くことになってるんだけど、あの人思想が揺れてるっていうか、爆弾闘争にも乗り気じゃないから、いざって時にね。こっちも命を預けるわけだから、それならあんたみたいな有能な人の方がいいもの。
時間を潰すか。
ニュース見た？
Okay, and so now we have Jessie appearing and she says, did you see the news? News mita?
マコーロの爆発は市民の敵アバランチの仕業だって。
The explosion of the Mako reactor was the work of Avalanche, the enemy of the people, it said. So talking about the news. And so we can see this here with what's being put in the brackets followed by te, quoting what's being said. So, Makoro, the Maker Reactor no Bakuhatsu, the explosion of the Maker Reactor wa, as for Shimin no Teki, so the enemy of the people. Shimin is a citizen, people, and then Teki is the enemy. So the enemy of the people, Abaranchi, Avalanche. So Avalanche, the enemy of the people, no shiwaza da. So shiwaza means the work of. And now this is the first new word that we have here in this sentence, and it just means the kind of the deeds, the doing, the work of someone. And so, this is the handiwork of Avalanche, the enemy of the people.
ガンガン流れてるの。ゾクゾクするよね。
It's spreading very rapidly or loudly. And so she says, gangan nagareru no, zokuzoku suru yo ne. So gangan, we've actually seen that Barrett has used this phrase, how he says like the sui ageru or gangan sui ageru wakeda, right? Like they're sucking out continuously the life of the planet, and gangan can mean that as well, but it can also mean kind of loudly doing something, so it could be either or. And so she says nagareru, this means to kind of to flow, to stream, right? And so here you can kind of see that it's, the news, the information is streaming out of the news. And that's where she's saying gangan nagareru. It's just flowing out of, the TV, out of the radio. It's spreading everywhere. So it's spreading loudly. And then she says zoku suru yo ne. So zoku can mean both kind of shivering, like zoku in like a bad way, but it can also mean to kind of be thrilled and excited, kind of like the cold tingles down your spine, right? In a way, that's still the same chilling, right? It can be chilling in a good way or chilling in a bad way, and that's what we have here with zoku suru. So in this example, Jessie is quite excited, and so that's why I've said it's exciting, huh? Zoku suru yo ne.
顔バレしてないからここは安全だろうけど。
Our faces haven't been exposed, so we're probably safe here though. So, kao barete inai. Kao is your face, and then bareru means to be exposed. And so this word, to be exposed, bareru, could also be to let out a secret or to be found out about something. So if you're trying to hide a secret and then, someone found out about that secret, you could say, oh, bareta, right? I've been exposed. I've been found out. But she says here, kao barete nai means that we haven't been exposed. Our faces haven't been exposed kara, because koko wa, as for here, anzen daro kedo. So anzen means to be safe. Daro, probably, kedo, however. So, however, we're probably safe. Anzen daro kedo.
いろいろ急がなくちゃ。
There's so much I've got to hurry up with. Iroiro isoganakya. So, iroiro means kind of various different things. We've seen this previously with Cloud saying, here and there, various kind of things. Iroiro isoganakya means I gotta hurry. Again, we're seeing this nakya to say that you've got to do something and it's put in the negative form. Isogu means to hurry. So, I gotta hurry. Isoganakya.
ねえ、次も一緒なんでしょ?
Hey, next time we're also going together, right? Ne, tsugi mo issho nan desho? So, ne, hey, tsugi mo, also next time, issho means together. Issho ni, issho, together. Nan desho, it is the case, right? So, it is the case that we're going together, right? Ne, tsugi mo issho nan desho?
報酬次第だな。
It depends on the payment. Hoshu shidai da na. So hoshu, the payment, and then this new word shidai, this means depending on something. It can also be used to say as soon as you do something or immediately upon doing something, but here it's saying depending on the payment. Hoshu shidai. So in a way, kind of saying that, as long as you pay me well.
じゃあ決まり。私が押すから。
Well then, it's decided. Because I'm going to recommend you after all. So, ja kimari. Kimaru means to decide. Kimari means it's been decided, right? It's already decided. Mo, ja kimari. Watashi ga, I am the one who's going to. Osu kara, I am going to support you. So osu here is to kind of say that you're recommending someone, you're pushing someone, you're backing for someone, you're putting your support behind someone. So she's saying that I will support you, I'll recommend you, I'll back you. Watashi ga osu. And then kara saying after all or because. So she's explaining why it's decided because she's going to support him.
ティファが行くことになってるんだけど。
It's been decided that Tifa will also go. Tifa ga iku koto ni natteru n da kedo. So Tifa ga, so something Tifa's doing, iku to go, and then we have koto ni natteiru. So koto ni naru means to decide on something, and then koto ni natteiru means that it has been or it is being decided on. So it's become a certain way, not with her choice. It's just been decided automatically by other people's choices that she's going to come, and that's why it says iku koto ni natteiru. It's been decided that she's going to come.
あの人、思想が揺れてるっていうか。
That girl, her thoughts are wavering, or how should I put it? あの人、思想が揺れているっていうか。So あの人, that person, I've said that girl, but that person. And so shiso here can be a thought, but it could also be your idea or your ideology. And so it's saying that, her belief, her ideology is wavering, yureteru. So yureru means to kind of, right, to shake, to rumble. So, when an earthquake happens and everything's yureru, right, yureteru, it's all shaking. And so that's exactly what she's saying, that her beliefs, her ideology is shaken or is, kind of wavering. And so, あの人、shiso ga yureteiru. Te iuka is kind of like, oh, how should I put it? Or maybe in other words. So she's saying that, look, her beliefs are wavering, or how should I say it? Te iuka.
爆弾闘争にも乗り気じゃないから、いざって時に、ね。
She's not keen on the bombing conflict either. So when the time comes. So bakudan torso. Bakudan means bombs, and then this torso is conflict or a war. So, the bombing conflict, bakudan torso ni mo, also regarding or also with the bombing conflict, noriki janai. So here, another new word, noriki, means interest or eagerness or enthusiasm towards something. And she says noriki janai means that she's not that enthusiastic about bakudan torso, the bombing conflict. Kara, so izatte toki ni. So this izatte toki, this means kind of when the time comes. Iza means now or come now. It's kind of a, call to action. Iza, right? Izatte is quoting that iza, and then izatte toki, the time when it is now, right? So this is an expression. It's not usually used, separated like that, but you could say when the time comes, izatte toki ni, when the time comes, what's going to happen?
こっちも命を預けるわけだから。
Because I'm also putting my life on the line. こっちも命を預けるわけだから. So こっちも means me also. Kochi is saying this side, me. It's kind of a way of referring to yourself. Kochi mo inochi o azukeru. And so inochi means your life, right? Your actual, your being that's actually alive. Inochi or azukeru means that you're kind of putting your life on someone. Inochi o azukeru, right? You're entrusting your life to someone. Wake dakara means there's a reasoning. So she's explaining why, you know, she's a little bit because she's also putting her life on the line.
それならあんたみたいな有能な人の方がいいもの。
And if that's the case, I think it's better to entrust someone capable like you instead, right? And so here she's saying, それなら, if that's the case, あんたみたい, someone like you, あんたみたいな有能な人. So this new word here, 有能, this means competent, able. So someone who is skilled and experienced, Cloud, right? He's very skilled and experienced in combat, 有能な人. He is a person who's very capable and dependable. 有能な人の方がいいもの. So, 有能な人, a capable person, no ho ga i means is better. Ho ga i is actually a grammar point that I've also covered in one of my grammar videos that means that this way is better. So, you no na hito no ho ga i means a competent person is better, like you, anta mitai. And then we have mono at the very end of the sentence. So this is kind of expressing her reasoning, how it should be, how the way is. When you have mono da, it means that's the way it is. Like Cloud is that way. Cloud wa soyu mono da. Cloud is just like that, right? That's the way he is. And mono can be used here to kind of express the way something is. And so she's saying that it is the way that, you know, it's better to trust someone like you than Tifa, right? So she's expressing her reasoning towards this, and she's saying that it's kind of a almost a common sensey type thing, you know, that it'd be better to trust someone like you than to trust Tifa. And you can see that here with this mono, often also mono da.
時間を潰すか
Gotta pass the time, huh? 時間を潰すか So 時間, the time, and then 潰す here means to kind of, you know, to waste, to spend. So I've got to pass the time, I've got to kill time. This expression, 時間を潰す means to kill time, to spend time. So maybe you've got a free hour, and so you could spend some of that time watching this video. That would be, you know, kind of, you know, spending your time. 時間を潰している.
?作戦に乗り気じゃないらしいな。
今までと同じやり方じゃ何も変わらない。それは分かってるんだ。でもな、かなりピンチ。
迷いがあるならやめた方がいい。
終わったみたい。
投げ出してきてたのか。
揉めちゃって。そうだ、なんか飲む？
ティファ、決起会だ。うまいもんたっぷり出してくれ。
うん。
次は俺たちだけでやることにする。お前は仕事探しでもしてろ。
もともとそのつもりだ。契約がなければ手伝う義理はない。
そう言うと思ったぜ。ほら、残りの報酬だ。気持ち上乗せしといてやった。これで晴れて契約終了だ。さあ、悪いが席を外してくれ。身内だけでやりたいんだな。
作戦に乗り気じゃないらしいな。
So Tifa comes back and here Cloud says, I hear you aren't keen on the mission, right? So here he says, Saksen ni noriki janai rashi na. So Saksen ni, like to the mission, noriki janai means that you're not enthusiastic about it, and then rashi here is kind of indicating that he has heard something. So he heard this information from Jessie, and so he uses rashi.
今までと同じやり方じゃ何も変わらない。
And then Tifa says if we keep going the same way of doing things that it's been done until now, nothing will change. And so she says, 今までと同じやり方じゃ何も変わらない。 So 今まで means up until this point. 今 is now, まで is up until, so up until now. と同じやり方. So 同じ means the same, and then やり方 is the way of doing something. So the same way of doing something up until this point. じゃ is kind of like では, but it's more colloquial. So if that's the case, 何も is a new word here meaning absolutely nothing, like nothing at all, right? Nothing at all 変わらない. Nothing will change. So you can see here that nanimo means nothing at all. Kawaranai means won't change. But when you've got these two negatives, it actually just turns into one. So nothing will change.
それは分かってるんだ。
I understand that. それは分かっているんだ. So she's admitting that she does understand that, something has to be done to change the kind of status quo. And so that is that それ. それは分かっているん. I am understanding. It is that I'm understanding. That nda at the end showing that kind of reasoning that she's coming to.
でもな。
But でもな.
かなりピンチ。
I'm in a big pinch. かなりピンチ. So this is a kind of key line here from Tifa. So kanari here means considerably, fairly, or quite. So you could say, yeah, it was fairly fun. You could say, yeah, kanari tanoshikatta. Or you could say, oh yeah, it was pretty yummy. You could say, oh, kanari oishikatta, right? Kanari, considerably or quite. And then pinchy is katakana English that is kind of saying, to be in a pinch, to be in a bind, to be in some sort of trouble. So she's saying that, she's really stuck, right? She's in a bit of a bind. Kanari pinchy.
迷いがあるならやめた方がいい。
If you have any doubts, it's best to stop. 迷いがあるならやめた方がいい. So 迷い means to kind of be lost, confusion. 迷いがある means that you are lost, you are confused, you have doubts. なら, if that's the case, やめた方がいい. So again, we see this 方がいい being used to say that you should do something, but here it's with やめる, meaning to kind of quit, to resign, to retire, to leave a job. And so he's saying that it is best, た方がいい, if you quit. やめる, right? やめた方がいい. It's best if you quit.
終わったみたい。
And then the meeting finishes, and so Tifa says it seems like it's over. 終わったみたい. So 終わる to finish みたい, it appears to be the case. 終わったみたい.
投げ出してきてたのか。
Were you thrown out? 投げ出してきてたのか? And so 投げ出す means to kind of throw something out. 投げ literally means throw, and 出す means like to put out. So 投げ出す means to throw out. Were you thrown out? 投げ出してきた. So we can see here that it's in the te form followed by 来てた. That means the 来てた is to become to do something. てた means you had been come to. So kind of if it was super literal, it would be like, is it that you have come to have been thrown out, right? That kind of thing. So, 投げ出してきてたのか?
揉めちゃって。
We had a disagreement. So, 揉めちゃって. So we've already seen this before when we talk about Cloud, how he just does nothing but fighting. And we have momeru, did you fight with Barrett and everyone? That would be, momeru or momechao. That means to regretfully fight. And so here she says momechatte. So she's showing here with that chao form that it's something that happened regrettably, right? We had a fight, we had a disagreement. Momechatte.
そうだ、なんか飲む？
That's right. Do you want something to drink? So alcoholic Tifa here. She always is talking about drinks, it seems. And so she says, soda. That's right. Nanka nomu. Nanka means something or how about, and then nomu to drink. So how about drinking something? Nanka nomu. So this is really interesting because this role was always apparent in the original version of Final Fantasy VII, where Tifa was kind of like a hostess, if you know of what that is in Japan, where you have, you pay women, pretty women to drink with you and, give you compliments and stuff. She's not quite that far, but she definitely seems to have some elements of being that. We can already see her, the way that she, interacts with people. She's very kind of hostess-ish, kind of hostess light. And so that's here. She says, you want to have something to drink, again with the alcohol.
Tifa, 決起会だ.
Tifa, it's the kick-off party. Tifa, 決起会だ. So this 決起会, kekki kind of means the beginning of something, right? The kick-off, and then kai is a meeting, and so here we have, the kick-off party, 決起会. Now, 決起会 could also be a way of saying rally in Japanese, right? Because it's kind of a meeting for rising to action, right? You're getting together because you're about to, come together for a cause, and so that is the 決起会.
うまいもんたっぷり出してくれ.
So here Barrett says to Tifa, serve us up plenty of delicious food. And so he says, umaimon tappuri dashite kure. So umai means delicious. We've already seen this previously with oishi. Umai just kind of more colloquial way. It's a more casual way of saying, umai, delicious, right? Umaimon, that's short for mono, which means things. So umaimon, umaimono, delicious things. Tappuri means plenty, right? In lots, right? Lots and lots. Tappuri dashite kure. Dasu, as we've already seen with nagedasu, means to put out, but dashite kure means put out for me. So put out some lots and lots of delicious food for me. Umaimon tappuri dashite kure. Sure.
次は俺たちだけでやることにする.
It's been decided that this next time we're going to do it by ourselves. Tsugiwa, as for next time, oretachi dake de, oretachi, us, dake de, just with us, yaru koto ni suru. So, yaru koto ni suru, yaru means to do, and then we see koto ni suru means to decide. So he's saying that he has decided, or we are deciding that we're going to do it without you this time.
お前は仕事探しでもしてろ.
You should do something like look for work. Omae wa, as for you, shigoto, work, and then we have sagashi demo shitero. So sagasu means to search for, and then sagashi demo shitero, this is saying sagasu to search, demo something like, and then shitero means go and do it, right? So go and do something like look for work. Shigoto sagashi demo shitero. So again, he's being very direct, he's being very ordering. You can see that Barrett orders people all the time, and so you wouldn't talk like Barrett in real life, you'd come across quite rude, because, Barrett is quite rude. He's very like, hey, you do this, that type of personality.
もともとそのつもりだ.
That's what I intended to do from the start. Motomoto sono tsumori da. So motomoto means from the origin, from the original point. Moto actually is, the origin, the original. Motomoto, putting it twice, means from the start. So motomoto sono, just like that. Tsumori, I intended. So that's what I intended. Motomoto sono tsumori da.
契約がなければ手伝う義理はない.
If there's no contract, I don't have any obligations to help. 契約がなければ手伝う義理はない. So, 契約 here is a new word, and this means a contract. So, kind of like a contract or an agreement. So, at some point in the events before the game, Cloud met up with Barrett for the first time, and they kind of came under this agreement that he was going to work for them for that bombing mission. And here he says that because we don't have a contract, 契約がなければ手伝う to help, 義理, this means kind of like the sense of duty, the honor, the duty, the debt, the need to do something, wa nai. So he doesn't have any obligation, he doesn't have any sense of duty to help, tetsudao, because he doesn't have a contract, 契約がなければ.
そう言うと思ったぜ.
I thought you'd say that. そう言うと思ったぜ. So, そう言う is like that, so like that, 言う to say, so to say like that, と思った I thought. So I thought that, the to is saying that, I thought that you would say that. そう言う.
ほら、残りの報酬だ.
Here, it's the rest of the payment. ほら、残りの報酬だ. So, ほら is saying here, and then nokori, this is nokoru, to remain, but this is the remainder, this is the noun, nokori, so the remainder of the horseshoe, the payment. So this is the rest of the payment, nokori no horseshoe da.
気持ち上乗せしといてやった.
I also put in a little bit more as thanks. So this is an interesting bit of language here. We have kimochi uwanose shitoite yatta. So kimochi means feelings, but here it can also be kind of like saying as thanks, right? As my feelings, to do a good job, I'm appreciative for what you've done. Kimochi, that's what that means here. And then we have uwanose shitoite yatta. So here, uwanose actually means a kind of extra, an additional. So he's saying that I'm going to give you this additional amount as thanks. So uwanose is the additional bit, and then we have shitoite yatta. So shitoku means to do something in advance, yatta means I did it. So I did it for you, I gave you a little bit of bonus as thanks.
これで晴れて契約終了だ。
With this, all of our kind of debt has been cleared. It's the end of our agreement or contract. これで晴れて契約終了だ. So これで with this, and then we have this interesting word here, 晴れて. So this actually means kind of like, for example, the first way you'll ever learn this is, the skies becoming clear, right? It's cloudy, and then we have 晴れる means to actually become clear skies. And it can be the same thing here with kind of your debt to someone, your debt becoming clear, your debt becoming 晴れた. So 晴れて, we will clear off, all of our debt that we have with each other. 契約終了. The 契約, the contract. 終了 here meaning the end. So it is the end of our agreement or our contract.
さあ、悪いが席を外してくれ。
Now, I'm sorry, but if you could leave. So here he says, さあ、悪いが, I'm sorry, but 席を外してくれ. So this is an interesting piece of language because literally it would say, can you please get out of your seat for me? 席を外す means to get out of that seat. However, he's not quite saying get out of that seat. He's actually saying, can you please get out of the building? Can you leave us alone? We want to do this just ourselves. And so he actually says, can you please leave your seat? Can you please get out? 席を外してくれ.
身内だけでやりたいんだな。
We want to do it with just our members or just us members. So 身内だけでやりたいんだな. So this 身内 here is actually saying like the insiders for the group, us members, the people of our family, the inside, right? The people who are actually on this team. 身内だけで just with やりたい. I want to do, and then でな. So it's what I want to do.
誘ったのにごめんね。みんなと話してるうちに、この闘争とは無関係のクラウドに頼りすぎかなって。
ジェシー、まだか？
今行く。本当ごめん。
気にするな。
会の後でゆっくり話したいな。
気遣いならいい。
ジェシー、我慢の限界っす。
じゃあ後で。ごめん、お待たせ。誘ったのにごめんね。
And so Jessie's feeling a little bit bad for, inviting him. And so she says, hey, I'm sorry I invited you. 誘ったのにごめんね. So 誘う here means to invite someone to do something. And so that's what she's saying here. She invited him. Remember, she said, that's decided. 決まりだ, right? You're coming with us. And so she's apologizing. And so she says, 誘ったのに despite inviting you. のに here means despite doing. So although I did this, despite doing this, ごめんね. I'm sorry.
みんなと話してるうちに、
While we were all talking together, how do I put it? So みんなと means with everyone. 話してるうちに, so うちに can be like while we're doing something, while we are 話してる, while we are talking. 話してるうちに, and then なんだろう is like, how do I put it? What is it? How do I say it? Right? なんだろう? What is it? Right? So while we were talking together,
この闘争とは無関係のクラウドに頼りすぎかなって。
Look, we figured we were relying on you too much. Someone who has no connections to this conflict. So, この闘争とは, so この闘争 means the conflict, right? What they're having, Avalanche versus Shinra. と with は as for. So as for with this conflict, 無関係なクラウド. 無関係 means there is no 関係. There is no relation. 無 means nothing, and then 関係 is the relation. So someone who is not at all related to this conflict, cloud, に頼りすぎかなって. So tayoru means to depend on someone, sugiru means to do too much, so tayori sugi means to depend too much on Cloud, Cloud ni, and we can see that with the ni particle here. That is who they're depending on, Cloud ni tayori sugi. So kana te is like saying like, kana is I wonder or I guess, and then te is quoting. So again, we can see because of this te, what she said here is quoting what she was thinking or what she said or something like that. So she's quoting that we figured or we thought or we decided that, you know, to have someone that had no connection to our conflict, we were depending too much on you. この闘争とは無関係なクラウドに頼りすぎかなって。
ジェシー、まだか？
Jessie, still not ready? Jessie, mada ka? So Jessie is Jessie, mada means still not yet, and then ka is a question, so come on, not yet?
今行く。
I'm going now, ima iku.
本当ごめん。
Seriously, I'm sorry. Honto gomen. So we've seen the second use here of honto instead of hontoni, just honto. Like seriously. You could also say, for example, like majide gomen, or hommani if you're from the Kansai region, or homma. But honto is hontoni. Really, seriously, very much gomen. Sorry.
気にするな。
Kini suruna. Don't worry about it.
会の後でゆっくり話したいな。
I want to talk with you after the meeting. Kai no ato de yukkuri hanashitai na. So kai here is now the short version for meeting. We already saw kaigi, right? Kaigi for a meeting, but this is just more of a kind of like a, you know, they get together, right? Kai is not quite as important and official as kaigi. Kai here is just kind of a meeting. And often you'll see this word just kai put at the end of something to say like some kind of party. For example, soubetsu kai, a farewell party. So soubetsu kai is a farewell party, and so you can see here that it's a little bit more like a party, this meeting that they're having, that rally that they're having. So kai no ato de, after this kind of, you know, meeting, party, rally, yukkuri hanashitai na. Yukkuri means just take your time and do something very slow. We saw that before with Tifa saying go yukkuri, right? Please take your time. So yukkuri, take your time to do something. What is she taking her time? Hanashitai. I want to take my time and talk with you.
気遣いならいい。
Look, if you're concerned about me, it's fine. Kizukai nara ii. So kizukai here is kind of, we saw with kini suruna, right? Don't worry about me. But kizukao is actually to really have like concern for someone, right? She's saying that she wants to talk with him because she's just concerned about him and she wants to, you know, show that concern. And he's saying, look, I don't need that concern. So kizukai nara ii. It's okay. Just stop.
ジェシー、我慢の限界っす。
Now Wedge can't wait, and so he says, Jessie, I'm at my limits of waiting. So Jessie, gaman no genkais. So gaman doesn't mean waiting, but it means kind of enduring something, right? You gaman, right? You're a turtle and you get in your shell and you just gaman, right? You really just put up with it. And so he's saying, I'm at the limits, genkai, of putting up with something. Gaman no genkai. What is he putting up with? He's waiting for her. And so that's why I've said here, I'm at my limits of waiting, even though gaman doesn't actually mean waiting, it just means enduring, but that's what he's enduring. He's waiting for Jessie, like, come on, we want to start. So, gaman no genkais.
じゃあ後で。
Well, see you later. Ja, ato de.
ごめん、お待たせ。
Sorry to have kept you waiting. Gomen, omatase. So gomen, we've seen sorry, but this next word, omatase, this is a very important and useful phrase to say that you've kept someone waiting, right? If you have a friend who's been waiting for you and you had to, I don't know, tie your shoe or something, I don't know, maybe you kept them waiting for a really long time, you could say, oh, omatase, right? Sorry to have kept you waiting. And so that's what she's saying here to the group.
Gokuraku!
ビックス早すぎ。
無茶すんな。大一番が控えてんだぞ。
だからこそっすよね。ああ、余計なことを忘れて集中できるぞ。
こういうの久しぶりだね。
本家から追い出されてみんなでやけ食いした時以来っす。
追い出されてない。
独立な、独立。
ああ、思い出すと腹立つ。
大変だったよね。もう1年か。早いね。
お前らのおかげでここまで来れた。ありがとうよ。
よせって、同じ覚悟を決めた仲間だろ。
やっぱいざって時に背中を預けられるのはお前ら仲間だけだな。
あの頃よりみんな頼もしくなったよな。
俺は腹が頼もしくなったっす。
ティファのおかげだね。
仲間の成長か。腹が。
もちろんお腹。
えこれか、これあるか。
俺明日の夜もみんなでこういうのやりたいっす。
やるぞ絶対。
いいっすね、楽しみっすね。
毎日はどうなの？
もう。また今度ゆっくり話そう。
おお、報酬ならあれ以上は出せないぞ。
3人がかりで押したんだけどね。
Now this is a really nice scene that I was actually initially thinking about not including because it's not technically a cutscene, but it's a nice scene. It really shows that development with all of these characters. And so it starts off with everyone saying "Kanpai." Now that means cheers in Japanese. So if you ever drink alcohol or just cheers, really anything, you can cheers with grape juice. But if you want to do that cheers in Japanese, it is this kanpai. So it's kanpai, but it's actually more said like kampai, right? Because we have the pai and the when they come together, it kind of sounds a little bit more like a sound. So kampai, right? Even if you just say kampai, it all automatically sounds a little bit like a kampai. Glug, glug, glug. Paradise. And so this is the glug glug, that is and then we have gokuraku. So gokuraku is paradise. So this is the second word that we've actually learned already in this episode, showing paradise in Japanese. The first one was tengoku. Now tengoku is a little bit more like heaven. It can also be paradise, but it's more like heaven. But this gokuraku, this is absolutely only paradise. Goku is kind of extreme, and then raku means comfort or like relaxation. So this is just the extreme comfort, right? Paradise, right? Like, oh, I'm in paradise, right? That kind of feeling, that is that gokuraku right here.
ビックス早すぎ。
Biggs, you're too fast. Biggs, hayasugi. So again, we see this sugiru to mean to do something too much. Here it's being too fast. Hayasugi.
無茶すんな。大一番が控えてんだぞ。
Don't overdo it. We've got the big game coming up. So mucha suna. Mucha suru means to just recklessly do something, right? And so mucha suru is just to do too much, to overdo it. And then we have o ichiban ga hikaeten da zo. So this is an interesting piece of language that immediately doesn't make sense. If you saw o ichiban, you would think it's like the big one, the big number one, right? Or for big, ichiban number one, the big one. And then we have hikaeru, which shows that you're in preparation for something, you're in waiting for something, you're on the verge of doing this thing, you're in preparation. What are you in preparation for? Or ichiban, the big one. Right? So that English expression is kind of similar to the big one, or here, the big game, right? He's talking about, we've got the big mission. Everything we've done up until now was the small mission. This is the big one that we've got coming up. So, o ichiban ga hikaeten da zo. Mucha sunna. Don't overdo it.
だからこそっすよね。
That's exactly why. Dakara koso syo ne. So, dakara koso. This is an interesting phrase. Dakara means that's why. Koso is kind of exactly for that reason. So, dakara koso, that is exactly why. And so this phrase is kind of referring to the thing that Barrett just said and saying that that is the exact exact reason, right? Pointing very much. That is the exact reason. So if you just said dakara because, you'd be like, it's not quite as clear. But if you say dakara koso, then that is exact the reason. That is exactly why.
ああ、余計なことを忘れて集中できるぞ。
Yeah, we can forget about everything else and just focus. 余計なことを忘れて集中できるぞ. So, 余計なこと, 余計 means kind of too much, extra stuff. So, you know, the other stuff, 余計なこと. 忘れて means to forget about those things. So, to forget about everything else, and then 集中できる. 集中 is just to concentrate and to focus. When you want to really concentrate on something and draw, you would use this 集中, right? 集中したい or 集中する, right? To really concentrate. And so できる means that we can concentrate. So, if we drink like this, we can forget about all of that other stuff and really focus on the big one.
こういうの久しぶりだね。
It's been a while doing something like this, huh? こういうの久しぶりだね. So こういうの, こういう is like this, no is saying something, you know, the thing. So こういうの is the thing like this. 久しぶりだね. It has been a long time, huh? So it's been a long time since doing something like this, huh?
本家から追い出されてみんなでやけ食いした時以来っす。
Not since we were kicked out of HQ have we kind of binged on food with each other. So this is interesting. Honke kara, from the HQ, from the main family. In Japanese, this honke is a word with a lot of history that actually goes back to kind of, you know, being families and the head family and the sub-family and, you know, connected in that kind of hierarchy. That's where this honke comes from, that kind of HQ, but it's more like the head family. Honke kara oidasarete, so to be kicked out from the head family, minna de, with everyone, yakegui. So yakegui means kind of stress eating or binge eating, right? So when you just gom, right? Just eating. But it's not like a feast. That would be like ogori. This is more like stress. It kind of has a little bit of negative connotations to it. It's like, you know, something bad's happening. That's why you're eating a lot, right? Maybe you broke up with your boyfriend and so you're eating a lot of that ice cream, or you broke up with your girlfriend, so you're eating a lot of ice cream, whatever it is. That's why you yakegui. So this is why you kind of binge eat or stress eat. So he's saying it hasn't been since we got kicked out that we have been together like this, just kind of, you know, eating a lot. And so we have yakegui shita toki irai. Irai means since, and then toki, the time. So since the time that we've eaten like this, you know, it's been a long time.
追い出されてない。
We weren't kicked out. 追い出されてない。
独立な、独立。
It's called independence. Independence. 独立な、独立. So 独立 here is a new word, and this means just by yourself, right? You're kind of showing that they don't care about the honke. They don't care about the main family or HQ, and they're just within their own group, their own independent group. Doku here is actually the same kanji for saying like solitary, alone, and then ritsu means to kind of stand up. So you're kind of standing up alone, right? Independence. So that is dokuritsu.
思い出すと腹立つ。
I get angry when I think about it. So 思い出すと腹立つ. So 思い出す here means to recall something, to remember. But we have 思い出すと, which means when I do this, when I 思い出す, and then we have a very strong connection. The next thing always occurs. So, or will occur. So 思い出すと, when I think, when I recall, 腹立つ, I get angry. So hara here actually means your belly, and tatsu means to stand up. So your belly stands up. Now, obviously it doesn't actually stand up. That would be a bit weird, but it's showing that kind of, you know, when you get angry, it kind of feels like your belly's not settled and you're like, right? And so that's exactly here where haratatsu means to get angry at something or really annoyed at something because your belly's like, right? That feeling. And so that's exactly here, literally in Japanese, what it means to get angry. Haratatsu.
大変だったよね。もう1年か。早いね。
It was pretty rough, huh? It's already been a year, huh? Time flies. So, 大変だったよね. 大変 means very difficult, very troubling. 大変だった, it was very difficult. よね, wasn't it? More, already, 1年か. 1年, 1 year. 1 nen year. It's been 1 year, huh? 早いね. So that means fast. fast. But you wouldn't say that. You wouldn't say, it's been a year already, fast. And so instead I've put the translation here as time flies, because that's kind of where she's, talking about here, that, wow, it's already been a year. Wow, time really flies, right? So, 早いね。
お前らのおかげでここまで来れた。
It's thanks to you guys that we've come this far. お前らのおかげでここまで来れた。So, お前ら, you guys, のおかげで means thanks to you guys. So, it's actually a term to say like, under the shadow of someone, if you were to talk literally, but that's one of the worst literal translations you could ever do, because you would never say that. It makes no sense whatsoever. But it shows that you're under the shadow of someone, someone's influence, someone's thanks to that person, if you look at it literally. But just remember, おかげで means thanks to that person. お前らのおかげで thanks to you guys. ここまで to this point up until here. 来れた we were able to come.
ありがとうよ。
よせって同じ覚悟を決めた仲間だろ。
Cut it out. We're all partners who have decided on the same resolve. 寄せて同じ覚悟を決めた仲間だろ。 So 寄せる means to stop, right? We've already learnt this word. It means to stop, to quit. Just stop it, 寄せ. But 寄せて means like kind of like, come on, I said cut it out, right? 寄せて. And then we have 同じ, the same, 覚悟を決める, to decide on that resolve. If you remember from the episode when we walked out of the explosion and we saw all of the mayhem, this is where Barrett, was talking about your 覚悟 and, deciding on that, 決める. And then we have 覚悟を決めた仲間. So we are the allies, the partners, the buddies who have made that same resolve together. 同じ覚悟を決めた仲間だろう。
やっぱいざって時に背中を預けられるの。
As expected, when the time comes, the ones you can lean on are やっぱいざって時に背中を預けられるのは So, yappa means yappari. It's just like saying as expected or as I thought. Yappa izatte toki ni. So again, we've seen this again for the second time. This is when the time comes. Izatte toki ni. Senaka is your back, and then azukerareru means to be able to kind of give, to be able to kind of lean on, to be able to kind of, entrust to. So to be able to trust your back to someone, senaka o azukerareru no wa, the ones that you're able to rely on or lean on are...
お前ら仲間だけだな。
お前ら仲間だけだな. Just you guys, my buddies, huh? So, お前ら, you guys, nakama, buddies, and then dake means just. So he's talking about the fact that the only ones he can rely on, the senaka o azukerareru no wa, the ones he can rely on is nakama dake. Only my buddies, you guys.
あの頃よりみんな頼もしくなったよな。
Since that time, we've all become a lot more dependable, haven't we? あの頃よりみんな頼もしくなったよね. So あの頃, that time, those days, koro kind of is a period of time. あの頃, that period, that time. Yori, so more than that time. みんな, everyone, 頼もしくなる. So 頼もし means dependable, trustworthy. If you have a friend who you can really count on no matter what, that person is 頼もし. And then here it's conjugated into the くなった means that we have become 頼もし. So 頼もしくなった that we have become dependable. Haven't we? よな.
俺は腹が頼もしくなったっす。
My stomach has also become more dependable. 俺は腹が頼もしくなったっす. So this is an interesting piece of language right here because it's actually a play on words. Yes, we're just making a fat joke. He's saying that his stomach has become more dependable. But hara can also mean more than just his actual literal stomach. It can also mean your intentions, your motives, your thoughts, your willpower, your mind. And so, he could be kind of saying that, yes, his stomach has become more reliable, or he could say that, his intentions, his thoughts, his willpower has also become more reliable.
Tifa のおかげだね。
Thanks to Tifa, right? Tifa no okage da na.
仲間の成長か。腹が。
The growth of buddies? Or his belly? And so here Barrett is actually catching on a little bit to that wordplay. He says, nakama no seichou ka? Hara ka? So, thanks to Tifa, what's happened? His belly's grown? Or, his friends have become more dependable?
もちろんお腹。
Of course his belly. So mochiron onaka. So this is interesting because we're referring to the same thing, hara for your belly and onaka here for also your belly. However, this time onaka only means your belly, okay? It's very literal. Onaka is the insides, right? Your belly, your stomach. So she's removing the wordplay with hara, how hara can be both things, and she's just saying, no, it's his belly. Mochiron onaka. Of course, it's his belly that's become more dependable.
俺明日の夜もみんなでこういうのやりたいっす。
I wanted to do it again just like this tomorrow night with everyone. 俺、明日の夜もみんなでこういうのやりたいっす。So, 俺、me, 明日の夜, tomorrow's night, 夜 meaning night, 明日 meaning tomorrow, so tomorrow's night. 明日の夜も also みんなで with everyone こういうの things like this やりたい I want to do. Now this is a little bit ominous really, even if you haven't played Final Fantasy VII, for a character to be like I want to do this tomorrow night kind of indicates that something's going to happen.
やるぞ絶対
Let's do it. Definitely. やるぞ絶対. Okay, so it's clear something bad's gonna happen already. Yaru, to do, yaruzo, let's do it, and then zettai, definitely. So this zettai is actually really useful. You can say zettai ni, or you can say zettai to say that you're going to definitely do something. I personally use this word a lot, probably more than I should, because I really say that a lot in English. Like, I definitely like that. I really like that. This word I personally use a lot. Zettai ni. Zettai ni so desu kedo. Zettai ni soku ni ikitai. Zettai ni. Right, definitely.
また今度ゆっくり話そう。
Let's take our time and talk some other time. また今度ゆっくり話そう。また今度 another time, and then ゆっくり again we're seeing to, take your time and do something. 話そう。Let's talk.
おお報酬ならあれ以上は出せないぞ
If it's about your payment, I won't be handing out any more than that. 報酬なら, 報酬 your payment なら, if it's the case, if you're talking about your payment, あれ以上, so more than that, 以上 meaning more, 以下 meaning less, あれ is that, so あれ以上 more than that, as for more than that, あれ以上は出せないぞ, I'm not going to hand out.
3人がかりで押したんだけどね。
All three of us were rooting for you though. 3人がかりで押したんだけどね. So 3人, 3 people, and then we have this gakkari. So this is showing kind of the number of people, all three of us, right? How many? The amount, 3人gakkari. And so we can see here by the dictionary, gakkari here is a suffix that talks about taking a quantity, maybe a quantity of people, taking a quantity of time. And so taking us three, with us three, we oshtan, we, rooted for you, we recommended you. However, dakedo,
本当にこんなとこに現れんのか？右腕が銃の男。
近くで見たって情報は上がってんだ。
なんだ？
待ってりゃ必ず現れる。
おい、まったくうちのボスは人使いが荒いぜ。その分役得もあるけどよ。
何見てんだ。文句あんのか？
兄ちゃん、近所の人かい？
まあな。
右腕が銃になっている大男を知ってるか？この辺りに根城があるらしい。
どうだろ
う。はは、鋭いね。金の匂いを嗅ぎつけたな。
500でどうだ？
200。
300だ。
まあいい。じっくり聞かせてもらうぜ。こっちだ。文句あっか？見てんじゃねえ。
大丈夫だろう。
仲間かも。
はい。
おけ！邪魔だ。雑魚どもの視線がうぜえな。
ウォールマーケットとは大違いっすね、兄貴。兄貴は怖え人だぜ。へへ、逆らうなよ。
死に急ぎてえなら止めねえけどな。兄ちゃんが先だ。心配ない。 後ろから襲ったりはしねえよ。
本当にこんなとこに現れんのか?
Okay, so now moving on to the next scene, and so we have these kind of hooligans that we can see, and one of them says, will he really show up in a place like this? 本当にこんなところに現れんのか? So here we can finally see the actual real form of honto, honto ni. So this has a longer to at the end. It's not just honto, it's honto, and then we have ni. So this is the more dictionary form of saying really. Really, konna tokoro ni, in a place like this, konna like this, tokoro place, ni in, so in a place like this, konna tokoro ni, and then we have arawaren no ka. So arawaren is actually a slang form of arawareru, and this means to appear, like in a Pokemon game, right? A wild Pokemon has appeared, that would be arawareru. Here, however, it's awararen. So the ru, the end ru, has just turned into a n, and this happens sometimes in slang speech. And because these guys are hoodlums, it totally makes sense that they're kind of talking in this way.
右腕が銃の男。
That guy with a gun for a right arm. Migi ude ga ju no otoko. So migi, right, and then ude, we've learned is your arm. So the right arm, migi ude, ga, so something about the right arm. The right arm is something. Ju, so a gun. Right arm is a gun. Migi ude ga ju no otoko. So the guy who has a gun for a right arm. Migi ude ga ju no otoko.
近くで見たって情報は
Information has come up that he was seen near here. So 近くで見たって情報は上がってんだ. So 近く means close to here, 近くで, so the place of action is near here. 見た means he was, something was seen, right? Near here, something was seen. 近くで見た, something around here was seen. And then て is quoting. So we now know that someone is saying, or something is saying, that he was seen near here. 近くで見た. Seen near here, て 情報. Okay, so information that says that he was seen near here wa agattenda. So again with this n, we can see here that it's actually agatteru, which means to kind of go up, agaru, to go up. But here it actually means that information has arisen, information has risen, information has come up saying that he was seen around here. 近くで見たって情報. So this te could also be, for example, like to, or toiyu is a more formal way of saying it, but it's just te to quote it.
あいつらなんだ?
Who are those guys? あいつらなんだ?
待ってりゃ必ず現れる。
If we wait it out, he will definitely appear. So 待ってりゃ必ず現れる. So here we have matsu, to wait. And then this ria is kind of like if we do it, but it's a real slang way. So it's used after the te form to say if in a real slang form. So materia, if we wait it out, kanarazu, absolutely without fail, arawareru, will appear. So we have learned a similar word here with definitely. Just before we have zettai ni. Now this is very similar. Zettai ni arawareru. You could say that, but here he's saying kanarazu. This is actually saying that without fail. Zettai ni means definitely, but it doesn't say that whether it's going to fail or not. Kanarazu is definitely, but also with an added level that it definitely will not fail, right? Without fail, he will appear. Kanarazu arawareru.
おい、まったくうちのボスは人使いが荒いぜ。
Geez, our boss is so rough handling his people. まったくうちのボスは人使いが荒いぜ. So まったく is like, come on, geez, まったく. うちのボス. Uchi means us. So we've seen before that there's kind of like the uchi and soto, right? The inside and the outside, and that's where this uchi is coming from. Uchi is within our group or just our boss. So uchi no boss wa hito tsukai ga arai. Hito tsukai means the way that you treat people, the way that you use people, you know, the way that you manage people. And then arai means to be rough doing something. So rough treating his own people, hito tsukai ga arai.
その分役得もあるけどよ。
There are perks to that though. その分役得もあるけどよ. So その分 is like to that part, to that point. So it can be used to say to that extent, it can be used to say that being the case or because of that, or this means that. And then we have yakutoku mo aru. So yakutoku here is a word to say a kind of perk, side benefit, or, the good things to come out of it. So he says that, yeah, look, he may be rough with people, but there are perks. Yakutoku mo aru.
Nani mitenda?
What are you looking at? Nani mitenda? So nani, what, and then we have miten. So again, we can see this miteru, looking, but it's miten. So the slang version of miteru is miten. So very, very rude. If you were to fight with someone in Japan and you were to say like, nani mitenda, like, what are you looking at, right? It kind of almost is like, what the f are you looking at, right? It's a really rude way of saying it. And so make sure that you don't use this miten instead of miteru. It's quite rude. You got something to say, huh? Monku anno ka? And so again, we can see it. This an is actually aru, but it's that slang version of the ru turning into a n. Monku is a way of saying a complaint. So monku anno ka? You got any complaints to say, right? You got something to say, huh? So thanks to these two lines already, you know really well how to deal with someone in a really scary way. If someone's looking at you strange in Japan, you can say, nani mitenda? Monku anno ka? What are you looking at? You got something to say? Please don't say this. Please don't. You'll get arrested or something. Japan's a very peaceful country. But if you were to talk on VR chat and pretend to be a Yakuza member, this is where this language would be quite usul for you. So how to, speak like a Yakuza.
兄ちゃん、近所の人かい?
Hey bro, you a guy from around here? 兄ちゃん、近所の人かい? So this is an interesting bit of language. We have ni-chan. Ni-chan, it's really common in Japan to actually kind of refer to people in this way, right? If you were to refer to a girl, you could say ne-san, right? Now this means sister, but you don't really say, hey sister, right? You're more like just referring to her and trying to be friendly, but here, that's kind of what he's saying. He's trying to buddy up to this guy. He's trying to buddy up to Cloud, and so he says ni-chan. Now, this is kind of like in English where you're like, hey bro, right? Like you're saying, hey brother. He's not really your brother. He's not really your bro, but you're trying to get close. And that's kind of the same way this ni-chan is being used. So I've said, hey bro, kinjo no hito kai. So kinjo is a neighborhood. Kinjo no hito means a person of this neighborhood. So are you from around here? And then kai, as we've seen previously, is asking a yes or no question. So yes or no, are you from around here?
Mana.
Mana. Yeah, I guess. So not really a direct answer to his direct question. He's just like, yeah, I guess so. Mana.
右腕が銃になっている大男を知ってるか?
Do you know of a big guy who has a right arm as a gun? So 右腕が銃になっている大男を知ってるか? So 右腕 we already know means the right arm, but 右腕が銃になっている. So that means literally that your arm has become a gun. It could actually be 銃になっている to actually mean to becoming a gun. It's the big guy or otoko that has a right arm for a gun. 右腕が銃になっている男を知ってるか? Do you know him?
この辺りに根城があるらしい.
Apparently he has a base around here. この辺りに根城があるらしい. So we see that rashi again, so we know it's secondhand information that he's heard from someone. That's what that rashi here is showing. Kono atari ni, so in this area. Kono, this atari is vicinity. In this area, nejiro ga aru. So this is an interesting word, nejiro. Ne means roots and shiro means castle. Nejiro, you can kind of guess, right? It's your castle where you have your roots in. It's your base. So nejiro is the base. Ga aru, he seems to have. Rashi, it appears that. So apparently he has a base around here. Nejiro ga aru rashi.
どうだろう?
どうだろう? I wonder. So Cloud, he's not giving any straight answers. He's not saying where he's from. He's not saying who he is. He's not saying if he knows anything. どうかな? どうだろう? So I wonder.
鋭いね。金の匂いを嗅ぎつけたな。
Ah, you're a sharp one. You smell the smell of money, don't you? 鋭いね。金の匂いを嗅ぎつけたな. So surudoi means sharp. It can actually mean a sharp blade, for example. That would be surudoi. But it's also a sharp mind, sharp wits. So he's saying, okay, you're a smart one, right? You can smell money. Kane no nioi. Kane is money. Nioi is the scent, the smell of something. So the smell of money, or kane no nioi, or kagi tsuketa. You have kind of caught on to, you've caught the smell of money.
500でどうだ
How about 500? 500でどうだ? So 500, 500 de with 500 どうだ? How about? So how about 500? So we've seen this どうだ already, and this is saying, how about, how is it? How about 500, to tell me, to give me that information.
200
200, 200.
300だ
300だ 300.
まあいいじっくり聞かせてもらうぜ
Alright, sure, I'll have you tell us thoroughly. まあいいじっくり聞かせてもらうぜ So まあいい is like, okay. And then じっくり here is to do something thoroughly. We've seen this before, like じっくりと to really do something thoroughly, to also melt something, right? To thoroughly cook something. And then 聞かせてもらう Kikaseru means to make someone tell you or make someone make you hear something. And then morao means you're going to receive. So I'm going to have you tell me. Kikasete morao.
こっちだ
This way. Kochida. A disturbing shadow. Fuonna kage. So this is, you can see here in the main story, just a little bit of interesting language. This fuon means kind of a disturbing or kind of disheartening, kind of unsettling, and then kage is the shadow. So we've actually learnt kage, we've seen it before with okage de. So kage, you can see here shadow, what I was talking about before, how okage de actually has its roots from shadow, but that's going a little bit too into things.
文句あっか
You got a problem, huh? Monku aka? So this is even more kind of rude version. He's not even saying annoka, okay? He's not saying aru ka. Like the most polite way would say monku arimasu ka, turning into monku aru no ka, turning into monku anno ka, turning into monku akka. So the aru no ka has just been turned into anka, turned into akka. So as you can see, Japanese does have its fair share of kind of slang language that gets contracted, very similar to Australian speech.
見てんじゃねえ
Don't look at me. Miten jane. So miteiru janai means don't be looking at me, but we've got it here in the kind of casual, really casual way. Miten jane. So don't look at me. Again, disclaimer, don't use this kind of language unless you're going to be in a fight.
Okay 邪魔だ
Move it, you're in the way. Doke, jamada. Again, don't use it unless you want to be in a fight. Doke is a rude way of just saying, get out of the way, doke, right? And then jamada, you're in the way. Now, jama's a little bit more commonly used. This means you're being a hindrance, right? You're in the way, jamada.
雑魚どもの視線がうぜえな
Look at these small fries annoying, huh? Zakodomo no shisen ga uze na. So zakodomo is a way of saying like those unimportant people. Domo, when you put at the end of a like noun, it's kind of showing disdain towards that. You're really putting that thing down, like those damn zako, those damn small fries or unimportant people. No shisen means the line of sight, but not quite literally the line of sight. He's actually just saying like them looking at me, right? That their eyes looking at you is uze. So this again is slang for saying uzai, but uze. And this means just, it's annoying, right? It's kind of irritating. So uze is a slang way of saying uzai.
ウォールマーケットとは大違いっすね兄貴
It's a huge difference from the wall market, huh, big bro? So, Woru Marketo is the wall market, towa with this place, as for with the wall market, or chigai. This is a huge difference. So we've actually seen this kanji used quite a few times already, the or being put in front of something to say a huge something. Or otoko, the big guy. Or chigai, the big difference. And then we have aniki. So if you've seen my Yakuza video, you will know that aniki means big bro. So you saw where it had kind of like ni-chan is kind of like, you know, little bro or hey bro. Aniki is big bro. And this is very commonly used in kind of Yakuza term, Yakuza speak, or where, you know, like you've got like a gang leader and you've got the underlings talking to the gang leader. Aniki, right? That kind of thing. So very, very common piece of language right here.
兄貴は怖い人だぜ。逆らうなよ。
Big bro is a scary guy. Don't oppose him. Aniki wa koe hito da ze. Sakarao na yo. So, aniki wa as for big bro, and then we have koe. So this is meaning kawaii, meaning scary, but kawaii turns into koe, meaning scary in a kind of slang speech. And so this can be a really challenging thing for learners of Japanese. When they come across this language, you can't look this up in a dictionary very easily. If you just see koe, you're like, what does that mean? I don't get it, right? And dictionaries don't automatically find this. You actually have to know that koe is just slang for kawaii. It's do kawaii, koe. Very, very common in slang speech. And then he has sakarao nayo. So sakarao means to oppose. We learnt this when Cloud was talking about the railway tracks where you can't oppose them. So here, sakarao, don't oppose him. Sakarao nayo.
死に急ぎてえなら止めねえけどな。
Well, if you want to hurry to your death, I can't stop you though. 死に急ぎてえなら止めねえけどな. So, this is a really interesting lesson where we're learning a lot of slang speech. Shini isogi tai nara. If you want to hurry to your death. However, it's slang, so the tai turns into te. Just like kawaii turns into koe, right? So you can see that in the slang, this is what's happening. And then we have tomene. Again, tomenai, I can't, it goes into an I. Tomenai, I can't stop you. Tomene, I can't stop you in the slang. So this is very common, this trend where we have the I's turning into an e sound when you are talking in slang, particularly this kind of rough Yakuza style of speech.
兄ちゃんが先だ。心配ない。後ろから襲ったりはしねえよ。
Bro, you're first. Don't worry. We won't do anything like attack you from behind. So, ni-chan ga saki da. Ni-chan, you know, the bro. Saki means first. So, ni-chan ga saki, you go first. Shinpai nai. So, shinpai, to worry about something. Nai, there isn't. So, there is no worry. Shinpai nai. There's nothing to worry about. Ushiro kara. Ushiro is from the back. Kara is from. Ushiro is the back. From behind, and then we have osotari wa shine. So oso means to attack, right? To attack someone, oso. But it's in the tari form. This means that do things like attack. So osotari wa shine. Osotari wa shinai. We won't do things like attack from behind.
おい、男の居場所知っているんだろうな。
二度も言わせるな。どうだろう。
てめえ知らねえんだな。
神羅の末端か。
神羅も一目置くお方のアシスタントよ。
だからどうした。覚悟はいいか。行け。じゃあ終わりだ。右腕が銃の男の話だったな。
あ、いや、その
なぜ探ってる。
俺は命令されただけで何にも知らねえんだ。だから命だけは
貫く。
お先真っ暗か。
神羅がバレット。俺には関係ないな。スラムの心得その1。部屋に戻るか。
男の居場所知っているんだろうな。
Hey, you know the whereabouts of the guy, right? おい、男の居場所知ってるんだろうな。おい、hey, otoko is the guy, Barrett, and then ibasho here is a new word saying the whereabouts. So, I meaning to exist, basho is the place, so the place that he exists, ibasho. the place that the otoko exists. Otoko no ibasho shiteru n daro na. So shiteiru means to know, and then this ndaro na is it is that it's the case, right? So it is that it's the case that you know his whereabouts, right? Otoko no ibasho shiteru n daro na.
二度も言わせるな。
Don't make me say it again. Nido mo iwaseru na. So nido mo means twice. Nido is twice, mo also. So also twice, iwaseru na. Iu to say, and then iwaseru to make someone say. So don't make me say it twice. Nido mo iwaseru na.
どうだろう。
I wonder. Dodaro. So he's being a smartass and he's saying, look, I already told you. I wonder.
てめえ知らねえんだな。
You bastard, you don't know, huh? Teme shiranen da na. Teme, you. So teme is a rude way of calling someone. You will not use this in real life, but it's a very anime video game type way of like in a fight saying you bastard, teme, and then shirane, shiranai, you don't know, dana, right?
神羅の末端か。
Shinra no mattanka. Shinra's scrapelings, huh? So this is kind of hard word to translate. We have matan. So matan actually means the very edges, the very ends, the very finishings of something, right? So kind of like the scrapelings, right? The very lowest position in a group, right? These guys are the very bottom of the barrel for Shinra. So that's where it's Shinra no matan.
神羅も一目置くお方のアシスタントよ。
I'm the assistant to a man who even Shinra acknowledges. Shinra mo ichimoku oku okata no assistanto yo. So Shinra mo, also Shinra, ichimoku oku is an interesting phrase. This phrase means that you will take your hat off to someone. Right? It shows a level of respect, sometimes higher, sometimes equal, but it kind of shows that level of respect to someone. Ichimoku oku okata. Okata means a kind of respectable person. Kata means this person, this lady or this gentleman. So he's saying that he is the assistanto of the no particle, this person who even Shinra acknowledges. Shinra mo ichimoku oku okata.
だからどうした。
So what? Dakara doushita.
右腕が銃の男の話だったな。
And now Cloud has turned the table on them and he's beating them. And so he says, you were talking about a man with a gun for a right arm, right? Migi ude ga juu no otoko no hanashi datta na.
あ、いや、その。
No, that, iya, sono.
なぜ探ってる。
Why are you looking for him? Naze sagutteru. So this is an interesting word here, saguru. So we have learnt that sagasu means to search for someone. So he could say, naze sagashiteru? Why are you searching for that person? However, it's not really searching that they're doing right here. They're more like feeling out for a person. They're more like, you know, fumbling for, they're searching for, they're looking for, they're kind of, where is this guy, right? They're kind of putting out feelers to try and, you know, find Barrett. And so that's where we have this sagutteru or saguru, meaning to kind of, you know, to feel around for something. So, you know, they're trying to find where Barrett is, and that's where this sagutteru is used.
俺は命令されただけで、何にも知らねえんだ。
I was only ordered to do it. I don't know anything. 俺は命令されただけで何も知らねえんだ。So, 俺は as for me, 命令されただけで。命令 is an order. Right, you're ordering someone to do something like Barrett orders everyone to do everything. He is meire gaski. He likes ordering. Meire sareta, so he was ordered dakede. It was just the fact that he was ordered. Nanimo, absolutely nothing. Shirane or shiranai, I don't know. So I don't know anything. Nanimo shiranenda.
だから命だけは。
So at least my life, spare me. Right, so dakara inochi dake wa. And then Cloud clearly comes from the sky and cuts him in half.
神羅がバレット。
Shinra is looking for Barrett, huh? Shinra ga Barretto.
俺には関係ないな。
It's got nothing to do with me. Ore ni wa kankei nai na. And so this is an interesting scene. This wasn't in the original, but I really like this scene. It's showing those guys that were feeling around for where Avalanche is. Without any spoilers, in case you haven't finished the original Final Fantasy VII, Shinra's been looking for Avalanche, okay? They're trying to find out who these terrorists are, and let's just say something happens later on in the game where, they needed to have sent out some feelers to find out where people are so that they could do certain things. And so this is showing that kind of connection. So this is a fantastic addition to this chapter and to this story. This kind of thing really kind of deepens and enriches the actual original experience to an even better degree. And so scenes like this are fantastic.
スラムの心得その1、部屋に戻るか。
Slum rule number 1. I guess I gotta go back to my room. So, Suramu no kokoroe sono ichi. Heya ni modoru ka. So, Suramu no kokoroe, if you don't remember, this means the kind of knowledge of the slums, the tips of the slums, or the rules of the slums. Sono ichi is number 1. So, let's go back to our room. Heya ni modoru ka.
Oh,
なんつって。はあ、話があるんだけど入れてくれない？じゃあ前置きはなしで。
今度は何の礼だ？
次の作戦に押せなかったお詫び。じゃないとしたらなんだ？
取引か。
いい感してる。でもこれ他のメンバーには内緒にしてよね。今夜のうちに解決しておきたい個人的な問題なの。
今夜？
そう、一緒に7番街、プレートの7番街まで行ってほしいんだ。目的はみちみち話すから。
俺は構わないが、明日は大仕事だろ。
そうだけど今やらないともっと大変なことになるから。ねえ、話は決まったってことでいい？
うん。お、
手付金代わりね。私の計算だと出発したら朝まで戻れない。準備は今のうちにしっかりね。終わったら教えて。準備は OK？ じゃあ夜になったら駅に集合。頼りにしてるよ。
報酬は悪くない。
おかえり。遅かったね。
Alright, and now we're on the final scene for this episode, this big triple episode. And so Jessie, she's very cutely and kind of annoyingly, she's like, welcome home. You were late, huh? And so, she's playing around, and so she's like, okaeri. Osokatta ne. So she's trying to kind of be that clingy, almost stalkery girl that's been waiting all day for Cloud to come home.
なんつって。
なんつって. And so, just kidding. So this is a common way of kind of, saying that you're just joking, you're just kidding, なんつって or なんちゃって. Jessie is you can't quite tell when she's being serious and when she's joking around. So this is a very useful phrase for Jessie where she's just なんつって just kidding.
話があるんだけど入れてくれない？
I have something I want to talk about though. Can I come in? 話があるだけど入れてくれない? So, 話がある, I have a talk だけど, however, and then we have 入れてくれない. So, 入れる means to let someone in, to put someone in. Actually, this word comes from the very first example from my recent N5 grammar video. So, 入れて, can you let me in? くれない, couldn't you do it for me? So, I have something I want to talk about. 話があるんだけど, can you let me in? 入れてくれない?
じゃあ前置きはなしで。
Alright, so without any introduction, じゃあ前置きはなしで. So 前置き means kind of the thing that you say before you say something, right? It's the kind of introductory speech or the kind of, the setting up to a conversation, right? You start kind of sweet talking someone and then you get to the point. She's saying without that kind of, setup, 前置きはなしで. Without. Nashi means without. So without any kind of introduction or without any setup.
今度は何の例だ?
What are you thanking me for this time? 今度は何の例だ? So 今度 is a new word and this means this time. So this time 今度は as for this time 何の例だ? What's the thanks for?
次の作戦に押せなかったお詫び。
Apologies for not endorsing you for the next operation? 次の作戦に押せなかったお詫び? So this is an interesting sentence if we don't go to the next one immediately, because, wait a second, I thought she did endorse us for the next mission. Maybe not successfully, maybe that's why she's saying this. But Tsugi no Sakusen, the next mission, osenakata, did not endorse or did not support or did not root for you. Owabi is a new word saying an apology for. So this is my apology would mean this is my owabi.
Oh.
じゃないとしたらなんだ?
If it wasn't that, what would you do? Oh, okay, so she's saying that was a hypothetical. じゃないとしたらなんだ? So if that wasn't the case, what would you do? Right? So you can see her playful personality. She's very much the なんちゃって or なんつって personality here.
取引か.
A deal, huh? 取引か. So torihiki means to make a transaction or a deal or kind of come to an agreement, right? And so he can tell that Jessie's wanting to ask him to do something, and this is going to be the payment for that.
いい感してる.
You've got a good sense. いい感じてる. So い means good, and then 感 here is an intuition, a sense for something, right? This 感 just by itself can mean that, right? If you've got a good sense, you could say いい感じてる, you have a good sense. してる just means that you're currently doing it, right? So, okay, you're really catching on. You got a good sense.
でもこれ、他のメンバーには内緒にしてよね。
But you gotta keep this a secret from the other members, okay? でもこれ、他のメンバーには内緒してよね. So これ, this, and then 他のメンバー. 他 means other, member is the members. So the other members, 他のメンバーには, as for to or as for with the other members, 内緒にしてよね. 内緒 means secret. If you remember where Tifa said, Mare-san ni naisho ne, right? Mare-san ni wa naisho ne, right? As for, with Mal, shh, it's a secret. Same thing here. Jessie wants Cloud to hold this secret, with the other members. So don't tell the other members. Naisho ni shite yo ne.
今夜のうちに解決しておきたい.
So next we have, I want to settle this before the end of tonight. So 今夜のうちに解決しておきたい. So konya is tonight, and then no uchi ni is showing that we want to do something before the first event, or while it's still that first event. So konya no uchi ni, before the end of tonight, or while it's still tonight, kaiketsu shite okitai. I want to resolve this matter kind of in advance, right? In advance for tomorrow's mission. And we can see that here with the te oku, to do something in advance. And so kaiketsu here is kind of showing that you're solving a problem. You're making a matter come to a settlement and a resolution. And so she has this problem and she's wanting to solve it. And that's why she says kaiketsu shite okitai.
個人的な問題なの.
It's a personal problem. 個人的な問題なの. So 個人的 means an individual, a personal. 個人 just one person. Teki is ish, so one person ish. Personal. Na mondai means a problem, some sort of, issue that she's got going on. So she wants Cloud to help her on this personal matter. Kojin teki na mondai.
今夜?
Tonight? Konya?
そう。一緒に7番街。
Yeah, together to Sector 7. So, 一緒に7番街。
プレートの7番街まで行ってほしいんだ。
I want to go to the Sector 7 plate. プレートの7番街まで行ってほしいんだ. So most of this language is all stuff we've learned before. However, this hoshi is a really important piece of grammar that we have, the te hoshi. This is used to show that you want someone to do something. So ite hoshi means I want you to go. Where does she want him to go? Plate no 7番街まで until the plate for the 7th sector.
目的はみちみち話すから。
I'll tell you the objective on the way. 目的はみちみち話すから. So 目的 is kind of, the objective, the destination. It could be 目的地 would be the actual destination place, or 目的 could just mean the goal, the objective, right? The reason why I want you to take me there はみちみち話す. みちみち means on the way. 話す is to speak. So I'll tell you on the way.
俺は構わないが。
I don't mind, but 俺は構わないが. So 俺, a way of saying me, very masculine way of saying me. It is used though, contrary to what textbooks might make you believe. I say ore, I don't use boku or watashi, I say ore, unless I'm like at work or something. But if I'm with friends or family, I use ore. Ore wa kamawanai ga, I don't mind, but. So kama would be to mind, kamawanai means you don't mind. So look, I don't mind, but.
明日は大仕事だろ。
Tomorrow is a big job, right? 明日は大仕事だろ? So again, we've seen this all being used to say big something. This is the episode of all. 大仕事 means a big job. 大男, the big man. So 明日は大仕事だろ? Tomorrow is the big job, right?
そうだけど。
That's true, but そうだけど. So you can tell where she says そうだけど. She's like, yeah, you got a point, but I don't care, right? That's true, but I still need to do this. そうだけど.
今やらないともっと大変なことになるから。
If I don't do it now, something even worse will happen. So, 今, right now, やらないと, I have to do it. 今やらないと, I have to do it right now. もっと大変なこと, an even worse thing. もっと means more. 大変, bad. 大変なこと means a bad thing. になる, it will become. So this ことになる means that it will become a certain way. 大変なことになる means it will become a bad thing. And then もっと大変なことになる means it will become an even more bad thing. So she's referring to the fact that she wasn't happy with how the previous mission went with the explosions and everything. And she's saying that, look, if we don't do this mission right now, you help me out, it could be even worse than what it was last time.
話は決まったってことでいい？
So, it's okay to take the talk as settled? So, 話は決まったってことでいい? So, she's being a little bit cheeky and she's saying, so I guess you're going to take the job, right? So, 話は, as for the talk, 決まった. It's being decided, てこと. So, this is saying the thing that it's being decided, でいい. It's okay to kind of assume it is the case. So she's saying, is it okay to, assume that, it's been decided, 話は決まったってことでいい?
手付金代わりね。
This is a replacement for your payment. 手付金代わりね. So 手付金 means the deposit money, right? So you're putting in a deposit, that's 手付金. 手付金代わり means in replacement for. So this is a replacement for a deposit, right? So in replacement for the payment, in replacement for the advance deposit on your work, 手付金代わりね.
私の計算だと出発したら朝まで戻れない。
So according to my calculations, once we leave, we won't be back until the morning. 私の計算だと出発したら朝まで戻れない. So 私の計算, 私の is a normal neutral way of saying me. 計算 is calculation. So she done calculations, that's 計算. 私の計算だと, so if we go by my calculations, 出発したら when we leave, when we depart, 出発したら when we do that, 朝まで until the morning. And so 朝 means morning and night means 夜.
準備は今のうちにしっかりね。
Make sure to properly prepare now while you still can. 準備は as for the 準備, as for the preparations, 今のうちにしっかりね. So ima no uchi means while you still can. If you remember that we had uchi, right? We already learned that uchi ni means while doing something. While it is now, ima no uchi ni. You see, where it's still that meaning a little way, where it's like while it's still something, while it's still now, make sure to prepare, right? And that's a bit of a weird sentence, but it means while you still can, right? Before it's not now. So, right now, make sure that you prepare. Junbi wa ima no uchi ni shikari ne.
終わったら教えて。
When you're finished, let me know. 終わったら教えて. 終わる means to finish. 終わったら when you're finished, 教えて. Let me know. And so here, the oshiete is a more normal way of asking someone to do something. As I mentioned earlier in this episode, if you want to ask someone to do something in a casual way, you use this te form to do that. You wouldn't speak like Barrett, where he's like, oshiero, right? It's a very forceful way of saying, let me know, teach me. But oshiete is just a normal way of saying, let me know.
準備は OK？
Preparations are okay? Junbi wa okay? Yeah. Nah. So you may have learned that to say yes in Japanese is hai, and to say no in Japanese is ie. But actually you can say ya to say no, or you can just say ya to say no. So it's getting more and more casual instead of ie. That's a very textbook way of saying no. It's just ya, nah. Or instead of hai or he just says ah. So that's like yeah. Instead of yes sir or yes, it's more like ah, yeah, ah.
じゃあ夜になったら駅に集合。
And so after choosing ah, yeah, then Jessie says, well then, when it becomes night, let's meet at the station. Cool. So we saw asa meaning morning. Here, yoru is night. Ja, well then, yoru ni nattara, yoru ni naru means become night. Tara is when it becomes or if it becomes. So when it becomes night, yoru ni nattara, eki ni, so at the station, shugo. Let's meet up. So again, we've seen this shugo to say, everyone coming together. In this time, it's just going to be Cloud and Jessie. But if you remember from earlier on in the episode, Barrett said everyone shugo da. We're all meeting together. Same shugo, same meeting, but it's just Jessie and Cloud. Where? Eki ni. When? Yoru ni nattara.
頼りにしてるよ。
I'm counting on you. Tayori ni shiteru yo. So tayoru means to count on someone, to depend on someone. But she's saying tayori ni shiteiru means that I am doing that depending, right? I am depending on you. I'm counting on you. Tayori ni shiteru yo.
報酬は悪くない。
Well, the payment ain't that bad. Hoshu wa warukunai. And so the final sentence of this episode, Hoshu, the payment, warukunai is not bad. Warui meaning bad, and then warukunai meaning is not. And that is it. Congratulations everyone for making it through this long video. We have now finished chapter 3, finally. So, serious question. How did you find this format? I'm really interested in, how you guys found this video, whether it was better than normal, whether it was worse than normal. I know some people actually skip like the review section and all of that kind of thing. So I thought, well, it takes me a lot of time to make one episode with the way we were doing it. And I have so many really cool video ideas that I want to do, right? Like so many. I will die before I get everything done. It's impossible to get everything done. So at least by one person. Maybe if we grow into an enormous channel, then I can hire someone to help with editing, but that's, way in the future. But right now, I have my hands full, way full. Right now, just on the top of my head, I have, all of the kind of grammar style videos that I want to do. As I mentioned before, I have the kanji video that I want to do, and I think that's going to be pretty cool. At first thought, it's kind of like, kanji? But then if you think about how the grammar video was done, where, we focus on one in the center, we have some examples with context from video games, do the same thing but with kanji, I think could be pretty cool. And it would really feel like, with this channel, you can learn every single piece of Japanese that you need. And it also shows you that you could actually do it through video games. If you played enough video games, you could actually learn it all. Because to be honest, I have actually talked with a few translators who their full-time job are translators. They translate video games, and they say that they've never once studied a textbook. They just played video games because that's what they love. They did it all day, every day, and they got to the point where they're way beyond N1 level. And it's totally true. I completely agree. You don't have to do the textbook struggle. You can if you want. You can do a little bit then, and you can go a little bit more into media. Anyway's fine. The main thing is that you enjoy studying. That's the most important thing. And I think video games are just such an enjoyable and interesting way of learning Japanese, especially when Japan has so many of the coolest games ever in history. And then to think that you can relive all of those moments in the language that you want to learn, or in even the language that it's, natively written in, it's just an exciting and fun thing. And so I want to tap into that more. I want to access that more. And I don't necessarily want this channel to just be Final Fantasy VII Remake for the next 10 years. So, it can be, it probably will be with part 2 and part 3, but I would like to get part 1 finished as well. And there's so much I want to do. You have the grammar videos, the kanji videos, as I said, thinking about doing a kind of vocab adventure. So where we just go through video games and we just gather vocab. I have some thoughts about that on how to do it right. It's pretty tricky kind of deciding on whether you have a style where you just do one game and you start from scratch and you count all of the words from that one game. That's one style. Or you could do a style where you count all of the games in one big list. And I'm not sure which one's the best for everyone. Some people would prefer the big list, some people wouldn't. The problem with the big list is it requires you to kind of watch every video if you want to get the full amount out of the channel. But for me, it sounds really cool because then I could have just this gigantic list with a spreadsheet showing you exactly where these words, where we found them, and really feel like that we're actually gathering all of the Japanese and not constantly restarting and restarting whenever we start a new game. I haven't decided yet how to approach that perfectly, so if you have any thoughts, please leave them in the comment section below. I'd be really interested to hear what you have to say about how to get this done, because I think the current strategy where we attack grammar with the current style video that you saw, we do kanji in a similar way, but we do vocab a little bit differently. Because if we did vocab in that way, I think it would be a bit boring. I think it would be a bit too much. But if we do it like this, where we go through the video game, we have fun, we kind of, we can watch it, we can, see the context, we can see the scene, we've got the voices and the music, and we just immerse ourselves into the game world, no matter what game it is, and then we see the language, we see exactly how it's used. I think that's the perfect way to acquire these vocab. And so I'm thinking of turning this deep dive series into something actually more, official, and that's kind of some sort of vocabulary adventure, vocabulary journey. I'm not sure what to call it, but you get it. That's the goal. And then we will have the 3 language goals where we learn kanji, grammar, and vocabulary. And then there'll be other videos as well where we, get random saying, random type of speaking, reviews, trailer coverage, all that kind of stuff. But I think just for the core language, I think this 3-pronged attack could be really, really good. And it would feel like through this channel, you really could learn everything. Eventually, once I've made all the content, you really could learn, everything. And I think it'd be really fun and exciting. So let me know what you think in the comments section down below. Hopefully you enjoyed this style of video. It is a little bit different from the heavily edited. This was still a lot of work because I actually had to create an entire movie, write all of the Japanese, all of the furigana, all of the translation by myself before I can even make this video here. So that's why in a couple of days the movie will also be released, because it's already done. I needed to make it done in order to make this video, so please look forward to that as well. If you want any kind of review, the video is there to help you after that. So hopefully you enjoyed this video. Sorry for all my rants in this episode. It was kind of a special episode, a big triple episode, but also I've been wanting to figure out how to make this series better, how to make it so I can actually cover more content, so you get more language, but also not kill myself in the process. So, trying to figure that out. So if you have any thoughts, I'm more than happy to hear your ideas. And look, I look forward to continuing helping you guys, enjoy learning Japanese with video games. So as always, thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video, and hopefully you're enjoying how the channel's going. I really loved that grammar video. It was really fun, and I'm glad you guys are enjoying it too. We're almost at 5,000 views, which is like, so thank you very much for all of your support, and a huge thank you to all of the supporters on Patreon. Guys, seriously, thank you so much. Like, love you guys. Thank you. It's really, really fantastic having you guys support. It's what's keeping this channel going. So thank you so much. And also a big thank you to all the people on Discord. It's the best place. I know I keep on saying it, but it really is. I love hanging out in Discord. I love seeing everyone talking, we're kind of getting to know each other, helping each other out with Japanese. It's growing very nicely. So thank you very much, everyone in the Discord, for all of your contributions to the community. It's been amazing, and dozo yoroshiku onegaishimasu. Please continue to be a part of this wonderful community. It's fantastic having you all in it. So that is the end of this chapter, and now I'm going to work on chapter 4. So as I said previously, I'm going to do the whole movie for chapter 3, chapter 4, and then I'm going to do this style of video all through chapter 4. However, what I'm thinking is I might not color code everything, because that was really a lot of work. It took me like 5 days or something just getting the video done. So I might not color code, but perhaps what we can do is whenever a new word is appearing, I can color code that for this kind of vocabulary adventure style deep dive series, right? So then just the word that's new, I'll highlight. Let me know what you think anyway. I'm got to cut this video short. It's already super long. Yoroshiku kudasai. I'm very sorry for this long video, but yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking. And that's what's coming up, as well as a couple of other projects. Anyway, look forward to that. Thank you very much for watching. Sorry for the big rants this episode. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you all again next video. See ya.